I'm Commander Shepard, and the Unnamed Games podcast is my favorite podcast on the Citadel. Shepard out.
Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to episode 60 of the Unnamed Games podcast. Something a bit strange for video watchers. You can see here something a bit weird.
We've finally fired Chris and Phil. Finally.
They're gone. Out the door.
That's it.
Out the door.
Out of here.
Save it with the best two. But yeah, I am Craig, Indiana Bond, your host again for this week. And with me I have Mr. Alan Longfangs Howlett. How are you, sir?
Booyaka Shah. Happy to be here.
Awesome, mate, awesome. Now, when we went down to the two of us, because we fired the other two, we thought, you know what, we can't just have us two. We need to get someone else in, don't we? So this week, we have a little guest. And his name is Tom at Rescue Wh4le. Hello, Tom. Oh, look at that cheeky grin.
I'm here and no one can stop me.
How are you, mate? You all right?
I'm all good, Chief. How you been?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Really good. Thanks for coming on and joining us, mate. I really appreciate it. Yeah,
Joining us old geezers.
That's it, yeah, young whippersnapper. What I've decided is, because I've been speaking with Chris and I've been speaking with Alan, and that Tom is a hybrid of the two. So he has Alan's hair and Chris's beard. So there we go. He's a multi-hybrid. Although that is
I'm sorry, but that hair's far more impressive than mine is. Not on my head anyway. It's like what I've got downstairs, but let's not talk about it.
Try and keep it PG. It's not even on for 2 minutes.
It's already gone. We've already moved past that point.
Failure. Phil isn't even here.
No.
Damn.
So anyway,
I'm flying the X certificate for Phil.
That's it. Yeah. This week we're going to do the usual. We'll talk about what's been going on in our gaming lives and our nerd lives, and then we've got a couple of talking points. We're going to talk a bit about the GTA Plus premium subscription that's been announced, and also about the Xbox Game Studios cloud gaming operation that they've been talking about. So, but of course, as people who listened before know, we have someone new on the show, so we need to ask the questions. So, Tom, are you ready for these?
Yes.
So, first up, Tom, what is your favourite movie? Silence.
Of the Lambs. No.
He's gonna go for Fern Gully, isn't he? He's gonna go for Fern Gully. I know he is.
I mean, I can't choose. Like, I've got Star Wars as a whole, and then I've got Lord of the Rings as a whole, because literally, like, this guy right here.
Yeah.
You, sir, are very welcome.
Yeah.
And Star Wars is pretty good. I mean, don't get me wrong. Star Wars is awesome, but
Everyone goes
against
1,
Lord
2,
of the
and 3.
Rings,
It's Return of the King or Return of the Jedi. Like, yeah,
I mean,
there's
it's
more
Lord of the
Star
Rings.
Wars, but the Lord of the Rings extended, which is how you're meant to watch them, is better.
Yeah.
So
I like this guy.
Yeah, I'd go Lord of the Rings. Push comes to shove, I try and watch the extended trilogy every year, at least once.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I know.
Nice.
I've got it too. It's on my door. It's over here. You can't see it.
They're pointing at their maps of
Middle
Lord
Earth.
of the Rings
Middle
world.
Earth
That's
maps.
it.
It's
Yeah.
Middle Earth, Craig.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one. So you're going to go Lord of the Rings then, Tom?
Lord of the Rings as like a
As a
branch.
whole. That's a bit of a
Already
cheap. I'll let you
cheap.
have it. That's
I
fine.
know.
That's fine.
He's earned second breakfasts.
Yes.
Yes, nice. Potatoes. What is your favourite TV show?
In recent memory, it's got to be, I would say, Mandalorian.
Oh, nice.
Good call. This is the way.
I
This
did
is the
love
way.
Book of Boba Fett,
Me too.
but
Yeah.
Mando was just consecutively more perfect.
But yeah, I mean, was the Book of Boba Fett really good? Because 2/3 of it was the band.
Yeah, I mean, like, Tamara Morrison as an actor is severely underrated. Outside of Clone Wars and Attack of the Clones, the only thing that people tend to know him in is the second Speed movie. It's called Cruise Control, and he plays like the first mate. I was like,
Nice.
Wasn't
Jango Fett's on a cruise ship. I'll take it. Like, but
wasn't he in
it's-
Shortland Street back in the day, like a New Zealand version of Neighbours or something?
Yeah, that's it. It was really bizarre.
Shortland Street. I've never heard of that. That's impressive.
now you have
I'm
to
not
watch
surprised, mate.
Shout out to Mara Morrison. But like it was like Mandalorian, like watching it to begin with was like perfect. And then I got a new TV, and then I ended up watching. I got my new TV, this TV, the day the episode of Mando came out where they go and rescue Bill Burr's character.
Yeah,
with
nice.
The detonation with the TIE fighter. So I had to watch it all again on this and be like, oh, yes. So yeah,
Glorious.
Mando for sure.
Glorious. I'm just going to talk on a quick comment that's come through from Ryan. Finally, I can know what GTA Plus is without having to skip through 30 minutes of someone talking about their shark card giveaway.
Well,
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Ryan. But yes, first of all, let me talk about my shark card giveaway.
Oh, quality. Right. And so the final and the big one, Tom, and it's a difficult one, I know, but what is your favourite game?
Oh man, like
First one that comes to your head. Come on, first one that comes to your head.
the first one that comes to my head was a game made by Ubisoft back in like 2000 and something, but it was called Beyond Good and Evil.
Oh, yeah.
Good call.
Brilliant.
Still
game,
waiting
loved
for
it.
number 2. But
It's been too long. But on top of that, more recently, I am a fan of God of War.
Okay, nice. Yes.
Because it was so good. Days Gone, basically a lot of the PlayStation exclusives. But push comes to shove, the one I always go back to and say, this is the game that just blew my mind, opened me to all these things, was Beyond Good and Evil for sure.
Nice,
But like as for like generational things or exclusives, yeah.
It's hard to pigeonhole one
it's-
specific game
yeah,
to being
it's-
your favourite. There are
it's
lots of games that
way
I've
too
absolutely loved throughout my life. To put one as a favourite is really difficult. But I think we could have circumvented the whole question things if we'd just asked Tom to show us all his tattoos. That probably would have saved us a lot of time.
That would have been, yeah. It wouldn't be great for the audio listeners, though.
No, we don't need to know about that one. No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, no.
Great stuff. Quality stuff. Quality. No, that's good, mate. That's good. Yeah, talking to God of War, I'm a big fan of God of War. I kept looking at getting a PlayStation 4 Pro purely for God of War, because I was like, oh God, that game looks so good. And my lovely wife on my birthday just very randomly bought me one with God of War, and it was such an amazing day. It was the shock on my face. Oh my God. And she goes, that's the one you want. I was like, oh, yeah. As like a kid on Christmas morning, it was brilliant.
I remember having a really rough day, getting off the train, walking straight to my local game store. I was like, you guys got God of War? I was like, yeah. You don't have a PS4, do you? I was like, no. Have you got the God of War PS4 Pro Special Edition? I was like, yep, goodbye. I was like, I am so poor.
But it was worth it.
Oh, so worth it. I've still got it. It's beautiful. I love it to pieces.
Yeah, it's a beast. That's one, Alan, you have to get on the PC and you have to play through God of War, because it is just an absolute masterpiece of a game. It's really,
I'll
really
get
good.
there eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. Cool, right. So let's move on to then what we've been up to this week. So we're going to kick off with myself. I'm going to start on this one. So I haven't actually...
God, I'm always last.
I'll go
Sorry,
last
Phil.
for you.
I mean, Alan.
It's fine.
Sorry, Craig. I totally meant to interrupt. Please continue.
That's all right, mate. That's fine. So, I'm going to start. And Alan, you don't know about this. I've not mentioned this to you yet. And I think you're going to be probably as shocked and appalled as Ratley was when I told him earlier on today. I've been playing Fortnite.
Where's the leave studio button? Where's the leave? I'm leaving. That's it. I'm out of here. What is wrong with you?
So, I was playing with a couple of friends online, and they said,
"Is this what's called a midlife crisis for gamers?"
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's not a game that I've really played. I bought it when it was in its early access thing for the Save the World, because it a tower defense. It looked quite cool. I thought,
we played it, didn't we? Because it was multiplayer.
did.
I think we played because it had all like the zombies coming up, and you had to lay the traps down, and before it became a global phenomenon.
Yeah, because I bought it, if you remember, and I bought the copy that had two versions, and I gave you the second code, didn't I? Yeah. And so played through that a bit, but I never played it with the whole battle royale. I think I may have put it on once and gone, it's not for me. I think I'm more into the PUBG kind of thing at the time. But they've removed the building element of the game.
Yeah, so, there's big controversy over that at the moment.
Yeah,
isn't there?
one of the big problems for me, if going into a game like that, you're trying to shoot someone or have any kind of tactics, and all of a sudden they're shooting up a 30-story skyscraper, and it just wasn't my sort of thing. But anyway, so I was playing with a couple of friends, and they said, look, we're going to jump on. Do you want to come and play with us? There's no building. I thought, yeah, go on. I'll have a go. Why not? I'm lucky enough to have fast internet, so I can download it super quick. So
lucky, yeah.
And
a big bill.
Well, there is a big bill, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
But So jumped in, and the things I've got to say about this game. I mean, I had some really good fun. We played third game. I got a win, which was really cool. So I was quite pleased with that. But the game itself is so incredibly well made. It is so slick. I mean, obviously Epic have got so much money, and they are going to invest ridiculous amounts of time and money into that game because it's a huge cash cow for them. But I mean, they're constantly updating the game, it would seem, from what people have told me, all the iterations and changes they have as they go along. But just the physics within the game, the way it handles, the shooting mechanics, even down to the menu system, everything is just so slick and easy to use. I've had a really, really good fun time, and actually playing with some people who play it a bit more regularly, they can kind of guide me through. And I think we're doing okay because probably a lot of the people on there are about 13 or 14, and now they can't build a massive wall in front of them. I can shoot them. They can't get away from me now. So it's a bit more old
last
school.
on your level.
Yeah. Yeah, the things like all the kind of the skins and the accessories and things that you get. So when I loaded it up, it gave me like 1,500 V-Bucks for free, which I'm assuming is because I bought that early access thing.
Well, I mean, the first bag of smack is always free.
Well, there is that, yeah, there is that. So I was going to buy a skin or something, but the mate said buy the Battle Pass thing, because you get loads of stuff with it. And just looking through all the things that they've created with it, the different types of emotes, the level of detail they've gone to them, like an emote that puts you onto a skateboard that has chainsaws for wheels and things like that. It's crazy stuff, but it's so well put together. I was really shocked that I actually really enjoyed it, and found myself the other day going, I'm going to put Fortnite on and have a game of that. I feel dirty for it, but I thought I'd best. This is more like me admitting to
Have you ever seen that movie? I mean, there's one made in the 1970s with Donald Sutherland, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where people don't start acting like themselves.
Yeah.
Fortnite. I mean, I'm not going to diss the game. If you enjoyed it, then that's all that matters. And clearly, it's a very slick platform. I don't understand why they've made the decision to take the building out of it, because if you want to play a battle royale game that doesn't have building in it, then you can go and play Apex Legends or PUBG, because there's plenty of stuff already on offer, already out there free to play, right? So why they've done that and upset an awful lot of their player base, because it's the unique thing. Yes, clearly there's a financial incentive, but for me personally, I mean, I had my fill of battle royale games with PUBG, and it's just that, you know, as I said at the time, I believe on the podcast, you know, when you've loaded into the world for the 100th time and you run around the corner, pick up loads of stuff, and think I'm going to have a good oh damn it, I've been killed again. Yeah. You start to realise that you're in this eternal life loop, like just cause and effect in Star Trek, where you're never going to get out of it and your entire life is now meaningless. Yeah, and I can't help feeling that's what battle royale games are. But if you're enjoying it, that's all that matters. But coming from the man that spent currently 550 hours on first one of the evening, boys and girls, Project Zomboid, I can hardly be chastising you for playing a game that I personally wouldn't touch with a hot stick.
That's absolutely fair enough. And to be honest, it's a great segue into the segment.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. That voiceover from Phil is fantastic. It's just genius. I mean, when he calls... But that's how he normally calls up girls, isn't it? He just does that, and he's just like... Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak for him. Yeah, I know, Chris. I mean, we agree with a lot of stuff these days, and it's starting to worry me a little bit. Yeah. But I couldn't be more in agreement. In fact, I'm actually considering quitting the podcast because it's disgusting.
Chris has just said, Fortnite, I'm still disgusted. Sorry, Chris.
But as going back to the Project Zomboid update, things are progressing along nicely. I'd like to tell you, Bruce Willis, live and kicking.
Before you go too deep into it, Alan, sorry to cut you off. Tom, do you know what Project Zomboid is?
No.
Alan, take it away, sir.
So Project Zomboid is a difficult game to categorise. If I had to describe it to you in very simple terms, do you know what State of Decay is?
Yes, love State of Decay.
It's like the developers looked at State of Decay and went, it's a bit easy, isn't it? and went back to the drawing board and made Project Zomboid, which effectively, in the first 5 minutes, when you walk out of where you spawn, and all of a sudden you're surrounded by zombies eating your face, and you basically have a dish towel to defend yourself, you suddenly start to realise this isn't State of Decay, and you're actually going to have to use some common sense to survive, because the zombies are did you know, by the way, Craig, there's actually an option in the settings, in the sandbox options, where you can change the zombies to runners, like in 28 Days Later. As if it wasn't hard enough already. And you can have like 8 times insanity population and then put them as runners. And I've seen somebody who created a character, right? And they then gave them all like super stats, like they bulked up using the special things you can use to actually be like really fit. And then they put all the runners in at a high pace, and then they just run and see how long they could stay alive for. Like absolute hordes of zombies. It is very much an unfinished game. It's important to know that it is. It's a game that's still in alpha, and it's been in alpha since 2013, but it's had a resurgence in 2019 because they gave the graphics engine a massive overhaul, and all of a sudden loads of streamers started jumping on the bandwagon, and that's how I ended up. Some of my streamers that I watching things like RimWorld and stuff like that, they were playing it all of a sudden because of this update, and it's had a resurgence, and the player base has increased, and there's now a lot of Twitch streamers who are streaming it, and rightly so, because some of the areas that they put so much depth into the game. It's certainly not a game for people who just think they're going to jump in, run around for a bit, hit a few zombies over the head and build themselves a base. It doesn't work like that. Exactly. You need to put time in. But if you do, the rewards are huge. You know, having a base, the fact that my character, Bruce Willis, has survived for 5.5 months now and has killed nearly 5,000 zombies is for me a massive achievement. But
Yippee-ki-yay.
Exactly, mother fracker. But the guy, one of the guys that I actually watch who streams this, I watch him while I'm supposed to be working. Well, actually, I am working, but he's playing in the background on my other screen. And Royale with Cheese, he had a character that, and I say had, because and he was playing literally this week. He was waiting for Tiny Tina's Wonderland to come out, and he was just about to jump off because he wasn't feeling very well. He said, "I'm going to go off in like 5 minutes." Some guy posted some bits, as they do on Twitch. Yeah, I know, exactly. Yeah, Chris, why aren't you here? But anyway, yeah. So and he just walked around, and this character that he's been playing for over a year in game walked around. Zombie came out of the trees, bit, and game over, instant. That's it. Insta death. There's no saving. There's no reload. That's it, and that makes it really, really cool. You can. There's ways around it. You can back up your save files and cheat it a bit if you want to, but that's not what keeps it interesting. What keeps it interesting is that every second you're out in the world, you have to be so aware of what's around you.
Please tell me it's Shaun of the Return of the King. This Chris. But just like the thing with me with that game, right, Tom? Yeah. So that Alan's playing this Project Zomboid is the level. It's the finite detail. Like when you make a pie, what you have to do to make a pie, Alan. It's
well,
like,
you have to. Well, first of all, because there aren't chickens in the game yet, you have to get your foraging skill up to a high enough thing that you can find eggs in the wild from wild birds. Once you've done that, you then need to get your cooking level up to a high enough level that you can actually get the ingredients, which you find in houses by ransacking them: sugar, salt, and flour. And then you put that all together with the eggs to make the pastry. So then you've made the pastry. Oh, you also need to find a pie pan in one of the houses. And then you've made that. Then once you've made the base, you've then got to go out and you've got to find what you're going to put into the base. You can make a fruit pie, you can make a meat pie. So you have to catch the meat, catch a rabbit or catch a bird in a trap. You have to butcher it, and then you have to cook it and put it in the pie and cook the pie. This is just a pie.
I think I have time for this.
It's like the level of detail with the mechanics. You can disassemble a car all the way down to its basic components. You're taking the brake pads off. You're taking the wheels off. And and they're updating it constantly. We're looking forward to a very big update at the moment where they're going to be adding NPCs into it. And these NPCs are going to include what they actually class them as NPCs, but it's going to be things like cows and like other wild animals that you can farm, and you can actually get things so you can get fresh produce like eggs or like milk and stuff, which of course goes off after a certain amount of time. And there'll also be AI NPCs. So some of them will be like, you can actually get them to join you in a community so that you can actually be like Walking Dead, where you make your own own community, and you give these people tasks to do and certain things that they actually specialise within the community, like a blacksmith or somebody who's like doing security, and you can go off and forage with somebody coming with you to help you forage.
Okay.
It's monumental, the plans and the scope they have for this, and unlike the guys that are currently developing Star Citizen, they're actually delivering.
Ooh, shots
But
fired.
and that's it. That's your Zomboid update for this week.
There you
boys.
go. There you go. What do you think, Tom? Does that sound like your sort of thing? Did look like it did.
Oh, I mean, like, I played State of Decay 1 way back when, and I loved it. And then the first time I logged off of it and did life, and then came back, I realised the game carried on without me. I was like, oh, sugar.
Yeah. Sorry, what's that thing that you did? You did what?
I did life.
What's that? Is that like a new game?
It's outside. The FPS is
okay.
amazing.
Oh,
but,
you mean
like,
IRL? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear him talking. I hear him talking
Wow.
about it on the Twitch channels. Yeah.
yeah, it's out there, but it's like, eh. But no, yeah.
Graphics are a bit rubbish.
Yeah, story's a bit meh.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, yeah, State of Decay was awesome, and I loved playing it. And the one thing I always knew was missing was co-op. But then State of Decay 2 came out, and I loved it.
That's and it's still a banging game. I'm not
Oh, yeah.
dissing State of Decay
And
2. It's just
they've
fantastic.
Still, like, I think they've got stuff coming
Yeah.
out for it very
Yeah.
soon. But they did the crossover. Like, you can get the Sea of Thieves pack. You can get a car which is called the Megalodon. It looks like the Megalodon from Sea of Thieves. And every
Nice.
time you turn the engine over, it literally goes. "Urgh." Like Megalodon rolls like. Ooh.
And then 3 billion zombies come out of every backyard because they heard your car. And
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but it's the Megalodon, so it's fine. It's like beep beep wee.
But it's a quality game, and it's totally worth playing because it's on Game Pass as well, isn't it? So
it
you
is.
can literally, you've got Game Pass, jump in and play it. But that's a great thing with Game Pass because you can kind of just have a little look round and find a random game that you like the look of, which you did, didn't you, Tom, recently? What was that game that you've just noticed?
Shit.
He broke something.
Was that your dinner?
It's fine. It's empty. There was a game called Far Beyond
Changing
Sails?
Tides, wasn't it?
Changing Tides. That's it.
Yeah.
So I saw it and it looked it looked weird. And like, there's a few games on Game Pass which are side scrollers, and they're normally really well written. Like Ori and the Blind Forest is made in house at Microsoft. That's a side scroller, and it has won all the awards. And there's a few others which are decent, but it's up to you. But this one was just like the front cover of the artwork was literally like all hand painted, and that's already drawn my eye because I'm like, that's cool, that's different. Clicked on it, literally booted it up. It was straight in within seconds. There's no dialogue. There's a bit of music, but it's only in certain parts of the game. And basically the world is just flooded to like a really bad level, and you are a small child with big hair and a big hoodie. No context. You're just there. You don't know if it's on Earth, whereabout it is on Earth. You don't know. It's just weird. But you just sort of swim, and you find yourself in this wooden houseboat, and you get in it, and lo and behold, you're off. But there's managing the systems within the boat as you upgrade more bits and pieces. So I'm at the point now where like my boat has like a back end to it, and it's all part of the story. It's not like a random choice you have. It's all just in it. It has like a small hook thing that you can literally just pull a lever and it'll just drop a hook. And then you can follow that hook down into the bottom of the ocean. And if it's like a big thing, you can grab the hook, stick it on the thing, grab a few pieces, swim back up to the top, pull a lever, and that'll just yank whatever's off the floor and away you go. But you can also, if there's no wind, the sail will obviously just do nothing. And you just press a button and it collapses the sail. You go inside the ship and you've got like a furnace. So you recycle junk, it becomes fuel. You burn the furnace and that propels this motion on the side of the ship, and off you go.
Like weird fin type things.
Yeah, it's a set of pedals. It's literally just you and there's no one else. And I've got an upgrade which allows it to be a submersible. So you just grab this hose, stick it in this other thing, fill it full of water, and the ballast just drops, so you're just under the water.
No way.
And then the fins come in, and then this big turbine comes out the front of the ship and just spins, and you're off.
So is it kind of, are you kind of making progress and you're progressing through the game, or is it like you're just there to survive, or?
Well, it's really weird. Like, I thought it was a survival thing, because you get to this point where the water around you just dries up and you're stranded. He's like, right, well, great, now what? So you're just walking around, and then I left the front of the ship, realised that I can't get back into the ship because it's side scroll and I can't walk around it. and I can't jump up to where it goes. And lo and behold, all of a sudden, this whopping great tidal wave comes over the horizon and just wipes the screen out. I was like, have I just done the wrong thing? I said, no, that's how the story progresses. So you're just left to sort of go, so long as I keep going this way, I should be fine. And eventually I'll find a puzzle to do to unlock more of the ship to get past this obstacle.
Right.
So it's basically just follow the story as they've done it. There's a bit of exploration and there's like small achievements here and there. Like if you grab a flower pot from the beginning of the game and you get it in the ship, you can plant it. If you keep it alive to the end of the game, that's like 60 gamer score. It's like, that's cool. Love that they've added that in. But it's like time management. It's not time management, but you do get an achievement if you finish it within an hour. So I was like, it's obviously not like a big game if they said you can do it within an hour, but it's like a snack. But I've been playing it on and off because I've been doing Dawn of Ragnarok, which is lovely. Bit of Extraction, bit of this, bit of that, and everything else. But just whenever I've got free time, and it's just one of those games you can just either run off the Xbox or on PC, whatever you've got. It's Game Pass, but they have a sequel which you have to pay for, which is currently like £3 on the Xbox store. Sorry, it's in there. It's got to come out. But like that one's also like the front cover for that game is like a big car with a sail and like a wheel, and I can't wait to test that out because if I'm driving across a desert, that's going to be like some Mad Max level, like awesome.
No, sounds awesome. Yeah.
If not, you can stream it straight from like the Xbox cloud gaming thing, which is really cool.
Yeah, I might give it a try.
Yeah, it's free. What have you got to lose? Like,
Beauty of
have
Game
you heard of
Pass.
that one now?
I've not. I'm just looking at the. I've just gone up the website here, and the visuals are very unique. I do love the way some of these indie games they go with these slightly off kilter like graphic options, and I think it's a very pretty game, very interesting aesthetic. And as you say, it's nice to have these games where what's that Edith Finch and games like that, where you literally just jump in for like an hour or a couple of hours and just enjoy the experience. Some of the I mean, I've said this many times before, but gaming is for me is about a story. And I make my own stories in games like these survival games like Zomboid and like Ark. I'm making the story of my survival, and I enjoy that because I'm building and creating something. But it doesn't have to be on such a grand scale. These stories can be smaller, a capsule, a snapshot, if you like. And I think games like this, when they're on Game Pass, I mean, it's almost like saying to you, why don't you download? It's a couple of hours, you'll enjoy the experience, and you'll walk away with some really good memories.
I think it's one of those. I mean, the whole Game Pass now. I think there was a thing recently at GDC, I think last week, where they did a whole bunch of stuff around Game Pass and what a huge success it's been, particularly for some of these smaller game developers. We won't go into that now because that's a whole separate subject. Maybe we'll do another show on that one. But fantastic stuff. No, thanks for that, Tom. Thanks for bringing that up. Actually, kind of ties quite nicely into something that I've been doing. Actually, when you're talking about big tidal waves and swimming under the sea, is I have jumped back into Sea of Thieves. Because there has been a new it's the Fortresses update, and there's kind of like new adventures they do. So they've massively overhauled this game since the last time I played it. It's been a while. I've always really enjoyed it, but you can now go to these fortresses that have ghosts on them rather than the skeleton fortresses. They were really hard. The ones with ghosts are not as hard, but you can go into them and you kind of fight your way through, almost like the film The Raid. You go through levels of it, taking out enemies. Until
is it just like the film The Raid?
Just like The Raid, absolutely, like bang on.
This game got another crossover.
Then you kill the boss. And he'll drop a key, and then you have to hunt for another key, and you open rooms. There's just loads and loads of gold and treasure everywhere. And just doing it as a team, it's just absolutely, it's great fun. And what they've done with these new timed adventures, they're almost a bit like the Tall Tales when they released those, but they are a bit more kind of bite-sized, I think, because the Tall Tales were very, very long, quite expansive, you would have very sort of big events that would happen through it, and these are more, they were on temporarily. I think you can only play them for a certain amount of weeks, but again, you'll have like a list of different kind of places you have to go to kind of hunt for different treasures and then deliver them back to a certain place. But it's been absolutely brilliant. We were playing it the other day, and there was a little sloop coming behind us. We were on a galleon, and he come flying into the borders of the fortress, and everyone's like, oh, we've got someone turning up. And he was shouting, friends, friends, friends. And he put like a friend flag up, because you can basically make an armada now, or like an alliance, sorry, not an armada, an alliance. So he sort of bowls up and kind of jumps off onto the side. He was a pirate legend, so he's obviously played it a lot. Because if you know that game, you have got to grind that game hard to get pirate legend.
Yep.
And he was sort of jumping around. He said, "Oh, friends, should we put our flag up as well?" And it basically put us onto the same team. So we had this extra player with us, and we just had like a convoy of boats going around the sea, like we were getting attacked by people, fending them off. We had the Krakens coming in. It's really just ignited my love for that game again. We've got to jump back on there and play it a little bit more. It's super, super cool. And the Adventures is a wicked little update. Have you played much Sea of Thieves, Tom?
Recently, in the sort of last month or so, me and the missus finished off the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. Because that was a really nice thing that no one asked for it, but they just went, there you go. And like they did all, I don't know if you've done any of that stuff with Pirates of the Caribbean.
About half of it.
Yeah, like they obviously haven't. The only original voice actors they've got are like the lady, the stranger, who's clearly like Tia Dalma, and then like one or two of the side characters from the main story. But the guy who plays Jack Sparrow is the same voice actor that plays Jack Sparrow in like Disney Infinity, which I thought was really cool. So they keep it consistent. And like Davy Jones is some guy with a Scottish accent. Like it's close enough, But
that'll do.
Yeah,
that'll do.
That's solid, mate. That's fine. I remember playing Sea of Thieves. I remember seeing the trailer for it when it first was announced. I was like, this looks really cool. 4-player co-op, like pirate adventure. Everything's been like zombies or sci-fi. And to go to pirates, it's just not done. But played through a bit of like when it first came out, and it was janky and it was iffy. It was as all games are. And then they Rare just went, we're not giving up on this. We'll make this work. And like you look at some of the streamers now, like there's a guy called Beardageddon who's a friend of mine who I know from work, and like he is probably one of the best dudes on Sea of Thieves I've ever seen. He has literally sailed past a guy who's getting annihilated by a kraken, and he's got full wind blowing, and he literally just grabbed the grappling hook thing, shoot it at one of the tentacles, and then just drift round it. And just be like, you want to lift? I was like, I'm sorry, what? You don't get to do that. Like they started off with the Kraken, and then they added the Meg, and then they've added like the ghost ships and the pirates and and like the community for Sea of Thieves is either like, yeah, we're taking your stuff, even if you just spawned in, we're having it, or it's like, do you want some ham? Do you want a ham? Do you want this? Do you want that? And like the microtransactions in it are nice, but they don't change anything. It's
just cosmetic, aren't they?
It's beautifully cosmetic, and they've had, because of the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff, you've got 3 types of ships. You've got sloop, the galleon, and then the other one, which I can never remember the name of, which is like 2 sails.
The brigantine.
That's it. They added that not even that long ago, if you look at the roadmap. But like you can have a galleon that looks just like the Black Pearl, or you can have a sloop that reminisces like from. They added the original Xbox, the Duke controller, the fat, chunky thing. They gave that an homage, and they gave the figurehead of this massive, burly dude with 2 crossed green swords.
I got that.
I was like, that's cool. I love that.
Currently, on the front of my ship, the figurehead is Master Chief. There with a spear. It's gold.
I love that. But like, they added like pets and stuff, and
I've got a little monkey called Jules. And this is the Jules that you both know.
Yeah, I thought so. Like all mine are just really like bad puns. Like I've got a cat, I've just called him Catman Doom, and it's Catman Doom. And like the parrot is the yellow and orange one, so I've just called him Mango. And then like the dog is just called Boy, and it's just every time I say it, it's got a war. But they added like loads of really cool stuff, and I haven't seen the new stuff, but I checked out the fireworks display that they added for like Chinese New Year. And they didn't need to go that hard with it, but they did. And it was so good. You even get an achievement for launching a few fireworks at like midnight, and one of them's just the big Sea of Thieves logo plastered across the sky. And like anyone in like a sort of 30-mile radius of the game would be like, cool, it's people over there, let's go get them. But you can literally just take that firework, aim at like a cave, and just nuke it. It's just like, can you see what you're doing? It's like, no, absolutely not. It's just nothing but blinding white light.
I think we did spend a good 10 minutes with all 4 cannons pointed up, just loading them with fireworks and constantly firing fireworks off. Great fun. Absolutely great fun. Goes back to what you were saying, Alan, isn't it? You know, it's again a perfect game that you can create your own stories with your friends. And it's just awesome fun. Good stuff, and it's a great expanding universe. There's also kind of moving on from that one. Alan, you've been playing a rather expansive universe again recently, haven't you, on your PC?
Well, I mentioned it a bit last week, but I'll go back to it. I mean, Elite Dangerous. So it was my son Alex that was kind of like, oh, we going to play that again. And I was like, yeah, okay, we can go and play that, but on one condition: we don't immediately go exploring, because I think that was the thing that killed it off last time. Is you're essentially talking they've recreated. Frontier have recreated the entirety of our galaxy. I mean, obviously not planet for planet. That's physically impossible. But they have
impressive.
Exactly, very impressive. But it's a simulation. But the simulation has millions upon millions of stars systems in it. And I heard something the other day where somebody actually said, according to Frontier, that only 0.02 of the star systems that are available in the game have still been discovered by the players. Now, if that's correct, that just shows the scale of it. But as I said to Alex, I said the problem is that once you go so far out into the black, that's all you get to do, because there's nothing out there. There's no like space stations when you go out of the bubble. So once you get 1,000 light years out of the bubble, all you're doing is flying to the next space system, and next one, the next one, the next one. That's all you do. So you don't get to do any combat. You don't get to do any like mining or trading or anything other than just exploring. So that was the condition for going back, but it sucked me in straight away. I mean, it is such a good game, and I know that you've put it on yourself, haven't you, recently? Because it was dead cheap, and you had a slightly better, well, I say better experience, but experience I would love to have, which was that you looked at it in VR, didn't you?
Yeah, so I've got an Oculus Quest 2, hooked that up because I thought, again, I've always thought, I need to jump in and play that because it's just a perfect fit for VR. Sitting in the cockpit. I also have a Thrustmaster HOTAS system, which is great. So, but you're just sitting there in the cockpit and as you're flying around, and I was doing space combat, and there's drones sort of as they're flying off, you're looking up and you're kind of tracking them as you're flying after them, and it's just such an immersive experience when you're accessing all the panels. So when you play the game, there's panels to your left, there's panels to your right, and you kind of move the stick to look at them, don't you, and access them different ways. Yeah. There's it sounds so simple and daft, really, but the action of just actually looking at it and then hitting the button for it to activate, it just feels more like you're interacting with a control panel. It's until you've played it, it's in that VR. It's difficult to say, or difficult to understand. I've only done the training missions or whatever at the start because I think it was quite late when I thought, right, I'll turn it off. But I'm keen to jump in and come and find where you are, Alan, so we can go in there, go and do some bits here, because we played it for a little while on the Xbox, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We spent most of our time going, "Where are you?" And then we went and flew into each other outside a space station. It's like, cool, yeah, I can see you now. This is awesome. Crap! No, slow down. Oh, God! We crashed into each other again. But we spent most of our time doing that. But the truth of it is that I mean, it isn't like the most. I'm trying to be diplomatic about this, but it's not like it's an amazing multiplayer experience. It's not like there are like multiplayer missions. And when I say that, there are multiplayer missions, but it's mostly like, you're going to go and transport all these goods from this system to this system, and you're both just going backwards and forwards, or we're going to go and do some combat. I think combat is probably the one where it's most immersive. And I think Elite holds one of the accolades, and I mentioned this last week, for having the most concurrent players at one time doing the same thing, where I think 10,000 players decided they were going to fly to the centre of the galaxy. And they actually did, and they flew there together as an armada, and that is actually in the Guinness Book of Records and all that.
That's crazy.
But in general, it's I think that it's like as I said, I've been playing with my son, but we've both been playing this week, but we haven't necessarily played together all the time, because most of the time you're just I find it very relaxing. I'm kind of sitting there and I'm just like, I might be watching something on my second screen on YouTube, I might be reading something, and I'll be like transporting something from one system to another because I'm trying to get my permit for the Sol system, because you have to be in with a certain super faction called the Federation for them to allow you access to the Sol system. So I want to mine the asteroids of Saturn. You know what I'm saying, bro? But they won't let me in, so I've got to cozy up to them and do a load of missions for them. So I'm just basically grinding it at the moment, and because it's immersed in real life physics and everything else, there's no fast travel. There's no like, oh, load in this system over here. No, if somebody's over there, it can take you hours to get over there. And it's like even getting from like, I'm in 2 systems, and one of the space stations is like 5,500 light seconds away. It takes 10 to 15 minutes just to fly there. And you're just pointing it at it. And if you go too fast, you actually, because of the acceleration and not the whole space and physics, you actually overshoot it because you're going faster than freaking light or whatever. And it's just, exactly. So it's like, so, but it isn't like, nothing happens quickly in Elite Dangerous. You have to be relaxed and take your time. But I just love it. And I think it's just, again, it's very rewarding. It's kind of a middle ground. I've played all of them to a certain extent. I haven't played Star Citizen as much, but I have played EVE Online for quite a while, and I don't find it as immersive, although the systems they have in place are much better, like the training and the things, that the infrastructure, and there's big stories about that. I remember we're not going into that with the EVE Online economy and stuff like that, but it's a lot more in depth than Elite is. But because it's third person, you just don't feel as immersed in it as you do with Elite. And then you've got Star Citizen, which is the other end of the spectrum, which has so much immersion, it's ridiculous, but it's not finished, and you've basically got you've got one system. It's not, if there's no scale to it. And I'm sure proponents of the game go, yeah, but it's amazing. It's like, yeah, but it's one system, guys. You know, if you look at Elite, it's like the entire galaxy. So it's a good middle ground, and I find it really, I think there's enough in there to keep you occupied and enough to learn. And the combat is great fun. Have you played it at all, Tom?
Yeah, I had it on Xbox for the longest time because I was looking for something to keep me busy that was sort of sci-fi based. And Elite was like, I remember talking to a buddy of mine, like, have you heard of Elite Dangerous? He was like, yes, if you're going to play it, be ready to not play anything else for a while. I was like, that's something I can do.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much it goes in. It has its own economy, depending on who you're factioned with or not factioned with, or just unfactioned in general. And like, you can basically be your own Boba Fett if you wanted to be, if you were so inclined. You can do bounty hunting. You can do just transporting goods and services. They added like a taxi service in an update of about 2 or 3 years ago. So you can literally just fill your ship up with passenger cabins and just go and become a cruise liner. Or you can do whatever. But like, as you said, like I joined the Federation when I first started, and I'm still with them, trying to get the Federal gunship. Because they've added like the fighter bay, which I was so ready for, but only like a select few ships had this option to basically just stick a little one-man fighter in the bottom of it, and you have to hire a pilot to either get in there and escort you and follow you around and stuff like that, or you can get in the fighter's seat and then the pilot will take your ship. But the problem is if you're and this is the thing that I've spoke to Frontier, the guys who made it. I was like, one thing is, if it goes wrong, you can talk to them, and they will more often than not help you out if something's gone really wrong, like if you lose your ship. But they always say, if you can't pay for its insurance, don't fly it.
It is the main rule. Do not fly if you can't rebuy.
That's it. That was the one. But like, you get these specialist ships as you go along all the different things. So you got like the Alliance and the Federation and blah, blah, blah. And like
there's quite a lot of ships actually. I think there's about 70 or 80 different ship designs.
Yeah, there's tons. And like the one ship that you want that I've been waiting to get, and I need to get back on Elite, is the Federation Corvette, and it's literally like
Corvette.
It's
like a destroyer.
It's literally like a frigate, and it's got like you've got things called hard points, which is where your weapons go. So like the Corvette has like 2 huge hard points at the back, so you can have like a level 6 mega ultra deluxe super laser, and then like 2 or 3 little hard points on the top that you can make them turrets. So you don't even have to be facing the target; they just go ting death, and like, or you can. Yeah, and you can either have like a Corvette.
That's going on the box. Ting death.
Ting death.
That's like me after a curry.
Man, if your curries are going ding when you sit That's not.
No, it's not the curry that's going ding, Tom, but we're trying to keep it PG, my friend.
But like, you can either have a Corvette full of weapons, or you can fill it full of mining equipment.
Or you can fill it with a fuel scoop and give it a massive fuel tank and just fly out to the stars and explore and try and make money by being a cartographer. That's the beauty of Elite. It doesn't hand you everything on a plate. There is immense depth to it, and there is lots of things that you can do in a system, but it's just like, it just says unidentified signal. And you have to make your decision what it is you want to do and try and outfit your ship to do that. Don't get me wrong, Elite Dangerous is fundamentally flawed in a lot of ways, and a lot of the community will tell you that. But you have to play it for a long, long time, for hundreds of hours, literally, before you start to see those flaws in the fact that, there's just this progression. You watch a lot of YouTube videos about Elite Dangerous, and they're always talking about, like, making the most money, making millions as quickly as you can to grade up. And it's like, you're completely missing the point of the game. The game to me is immersion. It's about inhabiting the world, being a pilot in a ship, and deciding that you're going to go and actually you're going to smuggle. You're going to be a smuggler, and you go and take the smuggling missions, which means you have to try and get your ship and be better at docking at space stations, because you don't want them to scan you as you're going in, because they'll find you've got illegal contraband on board. And it's just like, but it doesn't tell you all of this. You have to learn it, and it's all part of that. What do you want to do? It lets you be what you want to be within the universe. That's what I love about it myself.
But there's one thing that they've done with that as well that I know I haven't played. I know you haven't played yet, Alan, but Tom, you've touched it briefly, and it's the Odyssey update you were saying about before. So, I mean, I've been hearing a lot of sort of very mixed things with this, and I know there's been a whole bit of controversy around what platforms they're supporting. And I mean, just maybe go into that a little bit if you could, Tom.
So, like, one thing with Elite is it is a very pretty game. And one thing with Elite is what a lot of people wanted, which Star Citizen has done from day one, is to get out of your ship and walk around. Because the only thing you could do on Elite was to get in this little dune buggy and hope for the best. The problem is with the physics and gravity on different planets, you could just press a button and jump, and then you're never coming down again. You'll just soar through the night sky, just going. Great.
I think there is something in real life. I think it's called fentanyl.
Yeah.
But like, it was so Odyssey was the brilliant idea of trying to basically do exactly that, is to get out of your ship and just walk around into space stations, into bases on like actual lunar surfaces, or like in orbit. And it was a great premise, and they have done something. It's there. It's definitely there, because I played it on my old PC, which had a 2060 with a Ryzen 5. It's a few years. It was all right. It was a good PC, and especially with the 30 series being non-existent, is all I could get. And there were frame rate issues. The terrain was buggy. Like, trying to shoot was not a thing. And when I had played it before Odyssey, there was controller support, and it was perfect, because obviously it was on Xbox and PS4 and it works. Since Odyssey's come out, controller support is now gone, and they're now reintroducing it to have so it works with the ship, works with your SRV, which is your buggy, and now on foot. And they're just not, something's just not in the way, so it's just not happening. But like, naturally, when you get out of your ship into a space station, you're walking around, your frames per second are through the roof, because there's not much to load in. It's just various flat surfaces and people. But when you get back into your ship and you walk around on like the surface of Mars, it's all that terrain is just red, but the frame rate's down in the bin, because it's just so much to render in, even if it is just a local cluster. And it's just so much.
I mean, they have set themselves a very tall task here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, from being a game where it's, you're flying around in a spaceship, all of the maths and everything that's involved in creating each system, and the integral, mechanisms of like the trading and all that. There's a lot of serious programming and mathematics in that. And then to try and add that so that you can get out of your spaceship and actually walk around. They set themselves a very tall task. And I think, while it's maybe not the most popular of opinions, I know that recently they've made the announcement that they're no longer going to be providing support for the Xbox and PlayStation console versions, and they're going to focus primarily on the PC version. So Odyssey is out of the window for console owners
For now.
For now.
I would
But
assume.
in some ways, and as I say, it is an unpopular opinion, but I'm lucky in the fact I now have a PC, so I can sit here with a smile on my face, because in some ways I can't help feeling that's the right decision. You've made a very bold claim to deliver something that's really, really hard, and you're struggling with it. So to make promises that you are going to deliver it across all platforms, you're pulling a cyberpunk. Is what you're doing. So basically. So I have to give Frontier credit, and I think the community is quite often very down on the Frontier developers on the fact that they're not always very visible on their communication. Sometimes they're a bit slow. In this instance, I'd have to say I agree, and I think they've done the right thing in coming straight out and saying, do you know what? We want to focus, we want to get it right, but we're going to focus on the PC version first.
Yeah.
We're
Because
not promising it to the console versions. We don't even know if we can do it at the moment. They're still trying to get it to work.
Yeah. Like, once they get it done on PC, like, a port over to console would not be, like, entirely impossible, because it's already on console. But the thing is, there was an option, and it's still out there. If you ask Frontier, you can just port everything you've got from your account straight to the PC copy. All you got to do is just, unfortunately, buy it.
I didn't do that. Yeah, I didn't do that. I just started. But then I'm a big fan of starting from fresh. To be honest, I wanted to because it's like it's not like I was actually elite on any of my stuff, but I still like the idea of starting out as something new and building a new story and stuff.
The only thing I could think of that people would enjoy that isn't elite but still on console would probably be No Man's Sky. It's the closest thing to it. But they basically took elite and made it way more accessible, way more easy to get a hold of, and it's got the whole survival thing that Minecraft has been doing for years. Ark Survival Evolved and like all these other bits and pieces, but they've added the whole like fuel will help you keep you alive, but also get you to a different planet so you don't have to deal with this anymore, and like space stations and stuff. And No Man's Sky was meant to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it came out and it was a disaster. But they have, like they've done with Elite and many other games that have come out with issues. They've built it.
This one.
Yeah, exactly. Sea of Thieves is another one. They've built it back up to a state where it's like, we know this should have been like this when we released it, but it wasn't. And now you can go back to it if you want to.
It's a much bigger issue, and we've touched on this, haven't we? The whole problem with developing in general these days is that it's so expensive and so demanding on games that take years to actually get to fruition. And at some point, the members of the board are just like, we need to release it, which is why we see more and more common games being released when they either don't have enough content or they're not actually finished. And then you come back 2 or 3 years later and the game's just completely transformed and so different. And I think No Man's Sky is definitely a good example of that. The game now is it's a fantastic game. Absolutely, so much content, so much to do, and they've really turned it around. And most of the promises that the guy who was laughed at after the game was it Sean Murray? Who after it was released, and he made all these grand promises and couldn't deliver on them. At the end of the day, that's very common these days.
Yeah, a lot of that with him, that was inexperience of being so high.
It's like, we could have shiny things, and we can have those, and we can have that, and it's just like
he was just getting excited. That's what he was doing, and he shot himself in the foot from it, and that's why he kind of went. He was very, very wary about any kind of interviews or social media stuff anymore, and rightly so, because he got a real.
He pulled a Peter Molyneux.
Yes,
Shots fired.
We're going to have dogs and magical pixies and trees that grow while you're playing. Right,
trees,
Peter.
That's the one,
yes, we are, Peter. Yeah.
No, we are, but just not while you're still in the game industry. No. It's a little way off. But I think that whole Odyssey thing. The fundamental issue sounds like it's that trying to add a completely different system of game mechanics into an existing game. Totally. It wasn't designed originally to do that. It was it's an older game designed to do a very specific thing, and actually trying to work something in. That's a tough thing to have to do. Frontier aren't a massive studio. They're just down the road from us, based in Cambridge, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're what they're doing, I think, you're right, is trying to be upfront and honest with what they're struggling with and trying to refocus. And they've got some really
it's
loyal
tough for the
fans out
console
there.
owners. Yeah, it's tough for the console owners, but at the end of the day, I'd rather they were transparent about it rather than keeping them hanging on thinking that they might get it in the next couple of years when they're clearly not going to. You know,
Yeah, and you've got to imagine that they're probably the vast majority of their player base is going to be on PC. It is a very PC type.
It is now, and I think the player base isn't nowhere near the numbers it was a long time ago. So you know,
plus half of Frontier staff are probably working on Jurassic World as well. Which, by the way, love that.
Yeah, cracking game that is.
Yeah,
cracking. Yeah. So good stuff. Yeah, cool. Well, moving on to something else. I have been playing a new release, going Game Pass again. I know we talked a couple of different Game Pass games, but there's a game I have been really, really excited for I don't know, maybe 3 years ago they first showed it, and it's a little game called Tunic. And I don't know if you know this one or not, Alan, or Tom, but Tunic, it's a very cutesy little game. It's a little fox, okay, and it is a cross between playing through like the old Legend of Zelda games, isometric adventure games, crossed with probably Dark Souls, or let's say Elden Ring, because you know we're the Elden Ring era now, aren't we? So
did you just say Elden Ring wasn't Dark Souls? Are you trying to trigger me, Craig? Are you trying? Are you trying to?
I'm gaslighting you. But it's one of those games. You start off and it gives you absolutely no instruction. Part of the game mechanic is actually to travel around the world and find the pages of the instruction manual to tell you how to play the game. Which is mad.
Awesome.
It's really cool. And the instruction manual looks like an old Super Nintendo instruction manual. And inside it, it's written mostly in gibberish, but it has pictures and icons and things that you kind of can work out what you're supposed to do.
So it is just like an old Nintendo instruction manual.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. One that you've imported from Japan, because it's all like, you know. But yeah, it's got really great, fantastic combat in it. It's got this kind of dodge roll mechanic where you get like a split second where you are invincible, so you can dodge out of the way attacks, loads of different types of enemies, and then you've got bosses dotted around the world. And the idea is you've got to go and find these different bosses across these different areas. Once you kill them, it will, I think it's like a brazier type thing that will then open the door to wherever you've got to go. There's kind of, again, much like you said with that Changing Tides game, there's no real context to it. You don't understand what's going on until you start to play it more. Like I got to a certain point and I had found a stick. That's all I had as a weapon, and I actually beat a boss with a stick because I didn't know what I was doing and realised I'd gone completely the wrong way, and if I'd have gone left instead of right, I'd have found a sword, which was much, much easier to kill things. And then you find a shield, and you get kind of, you find like potions and different magic things that you can use. And I didn't realise until I found a page on the instruction book that there's like shrines that you can go to where you'll sleep overnight and you regain all your health back. Now, I didn't realise you go to them, if you pressed a different button, it would open a different menu, that if you found these particular flowers and items around the world, you could then level up your stats as well. But the way that they've kind of put that together, it's really, really well done, and it is developed by one guy. One guy has made this game over the course of 7 years. He's made the game itself. He's had help, though. He had 2 people do the music for him. And then he's had odd people do little bits and bobs on the way through over the 7 years. But primarily it's been him for 7 years to create this game. And it is getting great reviews. It's been getting sort of 8.5s, 9s, 9.5s. It's a really fantastic little title. And it's on Game Pass. Download it and try it. You will not regret it. It's absolutely fantastic. If you've got any kind of memories of those old school type adventure isometrics, definitely love it.
Yeah, it's definitely. I've been listening to some of the reviews. It's definitely getting very good reviews. I want to know the name of the guy that developed it because I want to send him hate mail. I hate people that talented. It's just rude being that skilled at something. I made a game all on my own. Look at me, aren't I clever? Yeah, I mean it's disgusting. I really hate him. But no, it looks really fun, and again, it's another one of those Xbox titles, isn't it, where you can just download it and just spend an afternoon just having a play, and if you like it, you do. If you don't, it hasn't cost you anything extra, and you can just do it. And
his name is Andrew Shouldice. There you go.
Well, I mean, Andrew. I mean, we all know what another Andrew, so you know, what can I say?
You don't
Nothing.
Like him either.
No. But no. I mean, I'm joking. Very talented and amazing work. And I've just watching the video while you were talking because I don't like listening to you. And it was And I have to say that the visuals look absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful looking little game, and as I say, the reviews are looking good. So I might just have to spend one of my afternoons downloading that and having a little play. The only problem I have that you don't have, Craig, which is why you tend to jump in and out of games so quickly, is that I don't have a massive spider network router and the best YouTube, the best internet in the galaxy. So I can't. I bet it took you about what, a minute to download Tunic?
I didn't even see it download. It just
Yeah. So play it. Yeah. Whereas me, I'll be sat there for an hour going, yeah, I can play it a bit. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Download. Come on. Ellie, are you watching YouTube? Yeah. So it's not quite the same experience that you have. So I have to make my choices more, planning.
More considered.
Yeah.
So is it something you'd spotted, Tom, before, or is it the first time you heard of it?
It's something I saw on the Game Pass menu when I'm flying through Xbox. And I definitely got a Zelda vibe because literally the front cover looks like original Link, but as a fox, or like the old Disney Robin Hood cartoon.
What does the fox say?
Nothing.
Sorry.
He says nothing. He's a fox. He says nothing. No, it looks cool. I didn't really look much into it apart from when you just sort of said it. I was like, that sounds kind of cool because the last kind of game, which was kind of top down but wasn't, was probably the remaster for Link's Awakening. And I was like, okay, it's obviously a classic. It's Zelda, but the last time I played a Zelda game like consistently all the way through was Breath of the Wild, and that does a really good job of like, off you go. Once you finish the tutorial, you can go straight to Ganon and hope for the best with like your t-shirt, shorts, and a stick. And like exactly, but like if you play around with it and learn about it, it took me like months after that Breath of the Wild came out to figure out that if you're on a like a slippery slope of ice, snow, or water or rain hitting like a hill, you can jump, do a flip, land on your shield, and surf down it. And I didn't know that. It doesn't tell you. It literally you just off you go.
That's the beautiful thing with some games when they do that. They put mechanics in and don't tell you. Then when you do find them by accident, it makes it that much more special, doesn't it?
It's like playing games when, like, back at school. It's like, did you see the thing on the thing? And like, have you gone that way? Because I found a thing down there, and it's like, because that was before YouTube was like a fevered dream. It was literally just word of mouth and just go, yeah. If you go down there, you can get the rubber chicken.
It's when you had to get the magazine, wasn't it? You got the magazine down in the shop and you were sat
exactly.
there. Really? I could do that? I didn't even know that.
£6 for a magazine from PlayStation 2, and it came with a DVD, which the only DVD player in the house is the one in the front rooms. You have to make sure no one else was there, or ask your mum and be like, go stick a film on. Is that, what is it? Oh, it's PlayStation Mag.
And as people who listen to this regularly know, and will have understood from that comment, Tom is significantly younger than us. So when we would buy magazines, we would get.
I was going to go. What, PlayStation 2? I was going to go. Was it Sega?
Sega
system.
Spectrum,
Genesis.
Spectrum, Genesis.
But when I used to buy a computer magazine, you used to get in the back of it, you used to get lines of code. So you could actually write your own game from the magazine. Yeah.
That's when you had BASIC on the original Spectrums. And you could actually go in, you could just program. I taught myself how to program in BASIC, and you go to the magazine, you type in this little thing, you play like an adventure game. Brilliant.
Yeah, I remember having buying my PlayStation 2 when I was in my I think it was in my first flat actually. Yeah, so there you go, Tom. That ages.
That'll be the next Red Dead 3 Redemption. You'll have to type in the code yourself.
That's it. Yeah. And as Chris says, there, free cassettes on the cover.
Yeah.
Those were the days. Hell yes.
Or when I remember, I can't remember what it was. I think it was Baldur's Gate that I played on the PC. It was 10 discs.
Wow.
10 discs. So you were like, oh, I'm on disc number 4.
I remember on my Commodore 64, I had the tape deck with it, right? So the cassette tape deck with it. And I bought the game Hunt for Red October. And it was 6 tapes. And you had to load 4 of these tapes before you even got into the game. And the box art, you can see the pictures and it looked really, really good. Once it finally loaded, it was a really detailed surrounding on the screen of like a kind of submarine controls. But the actual game was the word Red October, and then it would go boop, and it would move. And there was like another submarine would come in, and it had like a whole keyboard layout of different functions to run the submarine. I was like, hit a few buttons, and then I turned it off and never played it again. It was ridiculous. But yeah, no, good stuff, good stuff. Cool, right. So I think then, we just hit the hour mark, and I think we've got a couple of really good subjects to get into this week. And also, if we've got enough time at the end, I have prepared one thing we haven't had for a while, a little quiz. You should feel really privileged, Tom, I put some extra work in because we had a guest on this week, because normally I don't give
I
a
can
damn.
do a quiz.
Anyway,
I honestly don't know which way it's going to go. If I was playing with Chris, I know I'm probably going to lose. And let's just forget about Phil, because he doesn't know any of the answers. But,
all right, Phil, I still love you.
So I don't. So it could go either way, Tom. I don't know what sort of competition you are.
Yeah,
we shall
see. We'll see.
Here,
so
that's about as bad as it goes.
So the first thing that we want to talk about, and I know I mentioned it at the top of the show, is that Rockstar have come up with another way of making money. That sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? How strange. So they've come up with the GTA Online. It's GTA Plus, which is a subscription model. So I'm going to give you a bit of detail behind this. So it will cost it's in dollars, $5.99 a month. And it provides subscribers with a recurring monthly bank deposit of $500,000 GTA bucks. There'll also be a wide range, in inverted commas, of members-only bonuses, including exclusive properties, vehicles, upgrades, discounts, and cash stroke RP bonuses. So you'll be able to withdraw that 500 from your maze bank. You also get like a bunch of cars with it as well. It's the bonuses are like a 3 times GTA dollars and RP, which is their XP bonus, if you like, and 2 times car meet rep for street races, whatever that means. Additionally, GTA Plus members can purchase members-only shark cards that come with extra bonus cash. So this system's used. I mean, this system is used primarily in like the MMO space, isn't it? MMOs have like kind of subscription models and that way. I guess most games of the ilk of GTA Online have been going down the Battle Pass model, Destiny and Fortnite and all that kind of stuff. They always have a Battle Pass in them. But I guess I wanted to talk to you guys about, what are your general thoughts on this? Do you know what I mean? What is this the right way for them to go? Should they have gone Battle Pass way? I mean, there's already so many ways they're trying to monetize this. I mean, I'll go to you, Alan, first. What are your thoughts initially on this?
Okay, so we want to keep the PG rating, right?
PG.
So
keep it
okay, so oh my God, Phil's actually listening. Sorry, Phil. I was just joking, mate.
Phil misses his C64 with a 5.5 inch floppy.
Well, I don't know why he misses the floppy. Anyway, moving on.
But he's also rooting for you, Tom, to destroy Alan in the game.
Yes, of course he is. Rightly so. So, it's like, you remember when Bethesda was a loved company, and if anybody said to you, Bethesda, what a bunch of scumbags, they're only interested in profit, they don't care about their customer base. Before Fallout 76, people would have looked at you a bit funny and gone, "Are you serious? Tom Howard? Bethesda? No, they're the best company in the world ever." I'd have to say the same thing about Rockstar. Rockstar have been a universally loved company, a developer that has produced mighty fine games that are lauded as some of the best in the industry. And over the past few years, I have to say they've seemed more and more desperate to eke every last bit of money out of their customer base, rather than pay it to... I mean, they just released the new console versions of GTA, a 10-year plus old game, and still charge suckers for the privilege. They are so desperate to make as much money out of it. I mean, if I had the image of a horse and I could flog that dead horse, yeah, that's what Rockstar are doing here with this battle.
Well, the horse isn't dead though; they're flogging a very live
horse.
Yes,
that's the point though. They've made billions off of GTA Online. Everybody knows this. So you have to question why they need to make so much more money with tactics like this. We've got GTA Online. Everybody's playing it, and they're still playing it after all this time. That's brilliant. How can we make more money out of these saps? Let's put a subscription service on it. Let's Let's give them some. I mean, you get free GTA cash just by playing it on a PlayStation. You don't need to pay $5.99 to get the privilege. Oh, we'll give them some extra skins and stuff that nobody really wants, but everybody will want because everybody, look what I've got, because I've got something you haven't got, because I'm an idiot that paid for the $5.99 a month GTA subscription. It's just smacks of desperation. I'm so disappointed in Rockstar recently with the trilogy remake absolute debacle. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, Ryan's just mentioned there that he can make 3 million in 20 minutes, so doesn't see any point in buying it. So
exactly,
there are ways
why
around
would you? And why would you? It's just to sucker people in who think they're getting something that's good value and will end up paying a bit of money to Rockstar they don't actually really need, because they've got so much money they could make a dozen GTAs and still not worry about their bank balance. It's just desperate, and it's really sad, and it's made me really fall out of favour with Rockstar as a company that seemed like it was interested in its player base and have shown their true colours, that they're more interested in the bottom line and making every last tiny penny they can out of their player base. Sad is what I think it is.
So, Tom, I mean, do you agree with what Alan says? And I mean, is this more of a Rockstar thing, or do you think this is more of 2K? Is this more the publisher pushing money, 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 money? What do you think?
That's just it, isn't it? Like, Rockstar's always been the game company where, when I was in like middle school, it was like, oh, that Grand Theft Auto's made again. Oh, and ooh, ah, wow. And the thing is, like, GTA.
Sorry, where were you raised, Tom? Suffolk.
Yes.
Ooh-ah.
Or Swaffham. Just wanted to check. Thank you very much. Carry on.
So GTA's like, my first sort of taste of GTA was
Chris just put Phil in his floppy. And he also, just sorry to cut you off there, he's just mentioned, Alan, that Tunic installed in 2 minutes on his gigabit fibre. So anyhow, carry on, Tom. Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, like, GTA was always the game that, like, oh, my mum let me buy GTA, and what like it was always like a badge of honor. And like the first time I played GTA was GTA 3 at a friend's house. It was like mind-blowing graphics. I've never seen anything like it. Then Vice City and San Andreas. San Andreas was the pinnacle GTA that a lot of my generation grew up with, because it was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. It was brilliant. It was funny. It was well made. And like you said, the remasters, I had the San Andreas remaster because that was free on Game Pass. I remember playing it and being like, meh, it's all right. It's still iffy. And then my other half told me that they've basically ported over the mobile copies of the games and then redid it for Xbox and PlayStation. And I was like, that's scuffed. And like, you look at the footage for GTA 3 when it was raining, they've individually lit the pixels inside the raindrops. So when it's pouring down around, which happens most of the time in GTA, it's literally just TV static.
Yeah.
But like with GTA 5, and this is the thing, like GTA 5 I bought on the 360, as most of us did, because it was a new GTA. We hadn't seen anything since 4, and it was a whole different thing. 5 was on its own. The story was on its own for like a good year before the online came out. And we were promised all this
until it came out and worked.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like a bearable state, exactly. So you played 5, and we were promised all of the things like the heists and these bits and pieces and loads of extra stuff, and it wasn't there. If you were lucky enough to stay on the server for longer than sort of 20 minutes, you would be like, well, I've done everything now. All the missions are completed. I've gotten paid. And when you finish a mission, for the first time, you get massive payout. And then when you redo it, you don't get as much, nearly as much. So like earning like however much money in 2 minutes is brilliant. But the amount of money you have to pay to do stuff in online versus in single player, like to put a turbo kit in your car in single player is $5,000. Easy. In the game, in online, it's $20,000. And you earn, I don't know, from a heist, from one of the original heists that came out, the big one, you earn about $250,000 at the end of the heist, if you're like the host or something like that. So
and
you have to
invest in it as well, don't you?
Well, yeah, like if you're the leader of the heist, you have to drop all this money into it. And then if you want to take it like sort of percentage of like 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, you can do that. But then you don't even make half your money back. And then if you wanted to just skimp out on everybody and have it all back to you, you can do that if you want to. But people will just quit and then you're on your own. Unless you go in with people that have already played it. Like the free update from 360 to Xbox One, as an example, perfect. They did that flawlessly because the character creator was busted. In the 360, this is how you created your character in 360 GT Online. You had to choose what your grandparents look like, which would change how your parents look like, and you can change that a little bit, and then that's you.
Yeah.
The only reason why that worked is that one of the parents was John Marston or Nico Bellic, and you can basically just tweak it all the way so you get all your parents' features from one side of it, all smack in the middle. I took all of John Marston features because that was the only person that looked like an actual person, whereas everyone else just sort of looked like Sooty and Sweep, or the yeah exactly a bit like that. But then I must admit I'm a sucker for GTA, and I do enjoy playing it. They've gone from having this sort of small time street hustler on the corner selling this, that, and the other to literally a legally distinct enough version of the DeLorean, a nuclear submarine, an actual super yacht, and now they've added in Dr. Dre, who is not a small name. He is worth a lot of money, so Rockstar must have paid a pretty penny to get him involved.
Plus, that's why they put this extra $5.99 in.
Exactly.
They need to pay their bills, right?
The losses. Like,
where did all the billions go, Rockstar, Dr. Dre?
Dr. Dre, and
Blunts.
Yeah, he is the man. He's the dude. Like, he's literally on one of the West Coast classics, the hip hop station from the 90s, which is what that's set for, which is basically San Andreas era music, which is why we love it. He's featured in like 40-50% of the songs, either as a producer or just like spitting lyrics. And I must admit, I did buy the GTA Online upgrade to Series X just to see what all the fuss was about. Yeah, because it was, and it's like, apart from a few handful of games, like the Crysis remaster, Mass Effect, and now this, those are the only games I can name off the top of my head that I'm about to pay for a remaster. And I'm all right with that, because Mass Effect was all 3 games and all the DLC bar 1, which I never played. And then Crysis was 3 games for like sort of 30 quid. And Crysis 1 still looks good even without the remaster. So this was just like a whole nother level. And I'm halfway through number 2 and I'm still loving it. But GTA was like, it's £8 for just online until July, when it goes to £15.
Yeah.
And then if you want GTA Online and the single player stuff as well, that's currently £15 until July, when it goes up to 35 or something in that region.
Yeah. We went through this last week or week before, I think. But
so playing that, and it was really like, I booted it up. I've got a Series X, I've got a TV that can handle it, and like driving through Los Santos, it was like, I can see why they've worked it, because they've added like either full 4K or 60 FPS or 60 FPS with ray tracing. That's what I had on, so it's dead smooth and it looks amazing. But the $5.99, $6 a month, like $500,000 as a cash card, which you buy with your own money, runs at about sort of £6, £7, maybe £8, and obviously in US dollars, whatever the exchange rate is now, it's like $12, which is not small money, especially with the cost of living going up. But like, having all these extra things is great if you don't already have them. So for me, who's had the game since launch and has amassed a vast fortune, because the state of GTA Online, when it first came out, people were hacking the bounty that you could do, place a bounty on another friend, and just went, let's just turn that all the way up to like $250,000. But you didn't have to pay that money, but the person who killed you got that money from just nowhere. So I had a guy who had like $6.8 million on his head. Just bang, $6.8 million in my bank account. I was like, cool, let's buy everything twice. So I'm like good for weapons and armor and vehicles and stuff. But the upgrades for the new stuff, like the lowriders and like the custom car meet thing, that's so much money. And
that's the thing with that, right? Is that that's what it's all about. This game, it's the economy game. It's a very finely balanced economy. This game, it's not. You know, it's not just an odd coincidence that it costs you vastly more money to upgrade things in GTA Online, because they're pushing you towards making those purchases, aren't they? You know, and like you say, you know, if let's say you play that regularly, okay, so you regularly play the game and you regularly buy yourself £500,000 shark card, which is whatever. If that is, you know, $7 or $8 or whatever you said, or $12, then actually doing your $5.99 would seem like it's quite a good deal. But then what Rockstar have got is they've got someone in on a subscription model, which is continual service and continual revenue coming.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Subscription service is always the thing that a vast majority of people forget to cancel, even if they're not getting the benefit. And that's where you make all that hidden cash from people who don't even they get it, and then 6 months down the line they think, oh, did I cancel that subscription? Oh, I didn't forget about that.
Yeah, like Alan with his Disney Plus.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But I'm still using it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just sort of, so I mean, yeah, I mean, for me personally, sorry to cut across you, Tom, there, what you're saying, but it's very much seems it's going to be a 2K decision. I think this is, it's a publisher decision. It's not a developer decision. Developers are the creatives. They've made this absolute cash cow, and 2K go, right, bang this in now. Let's bang this in. Let's bang this in. And they're probably doing that with, cherries to bump up budgets for GTA 6 or whatever they're doing. It very much seems that way, really. But yeah, I guess that my next kind of question to you, Tom, then really is, with this ever increasing level of monetization in that game, do you think that this is going to start to turn people off GTA, or is it just going to continue as popular as ever? What do you reckon?
Well, I mean, it's $6 a month straight to Rockstar, not to anyone else. So if 2K have put this across to Rockstar, it's definitely not Rockstar's decision to do it willingly, as it were. Then basically, I wouldn't say they're as big as Valve, but Valve don't need to make another game. They can just live off Steam. And that's why they've never made a Half-Life sequel. They've just gone 2's enough. And that's it. Rockstar could just live off that. Rockstar tried to do their own game launcher, Rockstar Social Club, which went very much in the bin very quickly. And they've still got Red Dead 2, which is another game, but as opposed to living in comfort and luxury with all these weird and wonderful, wacky things, Red Dead's more like living to just survive. Like the gold bars that you get from Red Dead, same kind of thing. You order a gun from the magazine, it turns up in your locker a minute later, and this gun could be the best thing since sliced bread. But again, that's a pay to win almost, especially if you use those guns in a death match. Whereas, as also in GTA, you pay way more money, but then you get the best assault rifle, and you kit it out with a scope and a silencer and loads of other stuff. So having $6 a month in your...
If you've got 3 times GTA bucks and 3 times RP, and you can level up and get more guns, does this become pay to win then, like you're saying there?
Well, yeah, for the person who's I've never thought about GTA, but this, now's the time to get it because all this stuff is now completely free and get at you. But when I try to do the new Dr. Dre stuff, you have to buy an apartment complex specifically for that stuff to access the missions to actually do it. It is a free update.
Yeah.
Didn't pay for any DLC. Free. It's there. The content's there. It's up to you to get at it. So with all the stuff like the heists that they added in, so right now my GTA character, I've got a bunker, which I don't use, a secret hidden facility, which I don't use, an arcade cabinet, which I don't use. It's all these extra stuff, and it's and now I've bought this agency to hang out with Dr. Dre and one of the guys from the single player campaign. And it's this is great. But I had to sell 6 cars and even pay some of my own money to get at it because I just wanted to see what it's like. And now I've got it. I'm well, I can't ever get rid of it because I can't sell properties. You can only trade them for smaller ones and hope to get some money back. So now that I've got it, I can play it. But once it's done, that's it. And then I'm stuck with this building. I now have to micromanage and check every now and again to see if there's any money in the safe. And a nightclub as well. Oh, my God. And on top of that...
Sounds like a job.
Yeah, it's literally if I did this, if I played GTA way more than I do, which is not that much, here and there, it would have to literally be a full-time thing to manage 7 different ecosystems within my ladder of corporate godhood. And you started out literally on the plane with a pistol and a car the size of a shoe, and it's now I own the DeLorean and the car from James Bond that's a submarine.
Yeah,
and
nice.
An actual satellite which shoots rail guns at people.
That's
you can
handy.
do that, and I love that that's a thing. But it's $500,000 per bullet, and I'm I don't have time for this. I'm just going down the street and nuke him on myself. But $6 a month.
I just want to fight tanks in the middle of the road.
Yeah, I just want to get in a car and just bomb it into the ocean, and then get another car, then get a chopper, then just shoot some poor kid who's just logged into the game. That's what GTA is all about. Quintessential GTA is driving past someone, going "screw you," and just driving off. It's never been about that's literally all it's been. GTA 4 nailed it with online because there was no like personal possessions. You literally found the best car and hoped that it didn't get blown up when you got into it, and then just drive off. Or then we all met up at the runway and see who could jump off the end the quickest.
Yeah,
or steal a chopper and hope the tail doesn't get knocked out.
That's co-op versus a persistent online, world
It's
that we've got going on there. So, Alan, if then with all this stuff like nightclubs and building like corporate buildings and studios and stuff, if they actually allowed you to build that and put the walls up and stuff, would you get back into GTA? Do you reckon?
Only if they put zombies. Only if they put zombies in it. No, I love GTA. I'm not just GTA. As I said, it got to the point, didn't it, where we'd go in and after 5 minutes, all it'd end up was you and Jules running around shooting each other. That's basically every way our session ended. And 5 minutes of doing something serious, an hour of just shooting at each other with sniper rifles and rocket launchers. And I just got to the point where I'm so bored of this, man. I just don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. But it's still a great. I mean, all this dissing aside and everything else. I mean, you cannot fault the actual game itself is it's a masterpiece. Is what it is. Both the online and the single player are both absolutely seminal games, absolutely. And so I'm certainly not dissing them. And but it's just I just got a bit bored of the same old rinse and repeat.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Yeah, right. Well, no, it's good to kind of hear what you guys were saying about that. Really. I guess that moves us on to our next subject. So the next one is about the Xbox Game Studios Publishing has announced its new cloud gaming organisation properly. I know there was rumours about there was bits about this sort of back in, I think it was 2019 when Kim Swift joined Xbox as the cloud gaming director. And she was, I believe, I've got it written down here. Valve. She was designer of Valve's Portal, and also being the designer and artist on Left 4 Dead and its sequel. And then she was also a game design director at Stadia as well, which is Stadia's always
doing so well.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that was a bad turn.
Google tried, damn it.
Yeah. Well, that's I don't know how much they did try. Really, they tried in all the wrong blinking ways, didn't they? So, but anyway. So she's now, like I said, cloud gaming director over at Xbox, and they're talking a little bit about what their kind of plans are going forward. The stuff that they put out online, it was all very much developer focused. It was like a PowerPoint presentation, I guess, kind of trying to get people on board with their plans forward. So I don't know how soon we're ever going to see much come out of this, but their idea really is to partner with world-class game development teams and develop cloud-native games to bring unprecedented experiences to players that can only be achieved by cloud technology. So this is almost sounding to me like this is like a future tech type thing. And we know that Microsoft have always been one of those companies that have almost, to their detriment, been looking ahead. Whereas whether it be a Kinect camera, an always online Xbox One, all these type things, they look at sometimes a little too far ahead, kind of miss the current market a bit. So I think that what they're doing with this is quite good. They're keeping it low, they're keeping it in the background, and they're starting to ease this cloud stuff in. Cloud gaming is very much still in its infancy, and game development teams could basically develop cloud native. I can't speak here. Go on, spit my words out. Cloud native game. They want cloud game. I can't talk.
Cloud native games.
They want development studios to develop cloud native games to bring unprecedented experience that players can. I've read that bit already. This has all gone completely wrong here.
That's it. That's
Welcome to the
thanks,
guys.
Cheers for coming.
I don't know what's going on here. I don't think I've ever done that before. Anyway, let's just move off from that.
You're not having a stroke. You're not having a stroke, are you, Craig? Do we need to call an ambulance?
I think I might be. Yeah. It's because it's Tommy's putting me off. Obviously, it's that those mighty locks. I'm so massively jealous about that hair. I can't focus.
4 locks.
Anyway, so I guess the questions. Let's get straight to them that I want to put to you guys. With this new potential cloud studio, coming on with what they could do. I guess I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about what you think, what we're going to see going forward with the potential power of using these cloud-based servers. Because a lot of processors are very linked to like the processor and the limitations of the hardware that you have. So I guess it's almost putting your thinking hats on and kind of anything goes. What would you like to see driving forward with the new technology. What do you reckon, Alan? What is missing in games that you could have going forward?
More titty tassels, obviously, but I mean, everybody knows that. I mean, that's obvious. This kind of ties into something that we touched on last week, which was like Ubisoft announcement, which was talking about their Ubisoft Scalar, which is like these infinite worlds, if you like. These that I upset Phil in because I just talked for about 30 minutes about it when I said I didn't have anything to talk about. But yeah, I said, at the end of the day, having the ability to have this remote servers that can actually put an awful lot more processing into a game than just your base console or your base unit or whatever it is really going to open up for developers what they can and can't do. And by that I mean, if you have an online persistent world which people inhabit, such as what we were talking about, GTA 5 for example, or you're talking about an MMORPG where the world is persistent, rather than your home console creating the world that you're in, you can have those remote servers creating the world that you inhabit, and everything you do and you create is on your home console, which means that there's much more scope for what you can do. Like that. Microsoft looks at Stadia, nice idea, and we'll take Kim as well. Yeah, so yeah, we like the idea, and Kim, come on then, over you come. And that's a good point. At the end of the day, as you said, they're ahead of the curve, but at the same time, we said this about Stadia. Problem with Stadia is it's ahead of its time. There's nothing wrong with the concept in itself, and it's a concept lots of other companies such as Amazon and Microsoft are currently pursuing quite vehemently, trying to put lots of R&D into making this a game platform of the future.
Yeah. I don't think the platform necessarily was the problem with Stadia. It was the business model, wasn't it? It was the business model.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
They got Phil. What's his face? I've forgotten his surname now.
Spencer.
No, not Phil.
No,
Spencer.
Phil Spencer.
No.
It's a top human being, not the other Phil.
My mind. The other Phil, the bald one who ran Stadia.
Chris, come on, Chris, get in the chat.
Yeah,
What's his name? Phil. He'll know.
Anyway, whatever his
Stop
name
painting. But anyway, so my point is that I think this is something, and I think in the actual article itself they talked about the whole thing about Kim actually talks about and me and Kim were like this, me Swifty, I call her.
Oh, Swifty.
Yeah. But
hey,
she
girl.
was talking, hey girl. We were talking about the whole fact about like you look at Netflix when it first started out, and Netflix obviously started out with the discs. Yeah. But their overarching plan for their business was to go to the streaming service. The technology just wasn't there yet. And I think that's where we are with this cloud gaming. I think we're still at very early days, but I think the prospects for what they will be able to do, if you think about the processing power we have now within the real top-end consoles that we have and the PCs that we have, then you add on top of that remote servers that can do 10 times that, we are talking about some serious processing power here, and the sky is the limit. What would you like to see? Online persistent worlds with VR where I can walk on a big bouncy ball, so I think like I'm really walking in the world. Like, what was it? What's it?
Phil Harrison.
Phil Harrison.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Took your time though. But we're not paying him this week.
Yeah.
You guys getting paid?
Sorry. I shouldn't have mentioned that. Sorry, Tom. Yeah. Sorry, and we haven't ordered any hookers for you either. Sorry about that. Yeah. Sorry, mate. It's guests. But so that's it. At the end of the day, sky's the limit. And I've said to you before, that I for me personally, I have no issue with the game world being so expansive that there's no way I can possibly ever complete it, because that's a bit like saying you completed life. If you have a game world that's got so much content in it, is continuously evolving and is totally persistent, then even a completionist like me has to acknowledge the fact that there's no way you can ever do everything there is to do and enjoy the experience of what adventure you decide to take. That's the dream.
What are your thoughts, Tom? What would you like to see from all this?
Well, I mean, Stadia was great. Well, I say great. It was there.
It wasn't.
It turned up. It was like, no, you're late. I think if we took Stadia and smushed it into Microsoft, because there's always a lot of talk of like putting two and two together from different places. Like even, Steam have said they want to get involved with Xbox Game Pass, and that would be great. Yeah. But with cloud gaming, it kind of cloud integrating with games that already exist that aren't available to stream as like to play kind of already exists. But there are some games that use cloud technology to sort of fill in some of the gaps, like Cyberpunk will have...
Crackdown 3 did, actually.
Crackdown 3. Sea of Thieves uses a cloud system to use its wave engine, because there's no way, like, it could just run it. The game would be massive.
I'm sorry, Tom, but I've got to say it, because even Crackdown 3, even with the extra processing power, remote servers still couldn't save it from being a game that was so sadly underdeveloped and
the only good thing about that was
anything new to it whatsoever, and was a total disappointment.
Also, Tom, we forgot to tell you the rules. You're not allowed to say nice things about Stadia on this podcast.
Fine. I mean, I never bought it. I looked at it. It was like, that's a cool idea, and that's all it was. It was a cool idea. Just like plug in like a controller into like a computer, or well, there you go. There it is. This poor guy. And it was a cool idea, but it just never went anywhere. And it was just like the servers weren't there. Like I tried to stream Halo Infinite on my phone to test out a guy's controller at work. I played it. I could hear it. No, I couldn't see what I was doing because the pixels were there was no quality. But then again, I was playing it in a building which is essentially just an oversized bunker. So long as you've got a controller on you, which I don't think I've ever walked around with an Xbox controller unless I knew I was going to a place that had an Xbox in it. If you've got decent signal, so you're looking at least 5G, which is just not everywhere at the moment, and you have to have a SIM card and a phone that can handle it, and you've got the money to pay for it. And then a console, either a PS5 or a Series X, which is probably going to have to be hardwired into a router. And even then, you have to have, whether you stream it straight from the console or from Xbox services, it's hit and miss. But games that use cloud to sort of fill in the gaps, that's fine, because that works, so long as the internet's on and, you know, the company still exists. Because that's the thing that you're going to see a lot, and it's already happening, and you guys have covered this in however many podcasts, and even before then, companies that just don't go well just get napped up by somebody else. You look at EA and how many studios they own. If they had a game which was cloud-based, say like Mercenaries, which was Pandemic Studios, they're gone. And they are never coming back. Like
that's the same thing with Gran Turismo at the moment. A lot of people
exactly.
saying the fact because it's online persistently, when they decide to turn off the servers, if you got Gran Turismo 7, you just won't be able to play it.
That's it. That's gone. That'll be it. Like if somehow, these days, isn't it? If Rare somehow becomes too big to fail, even though Microsoft have bought them and backed them for however long, they turn off the servers. Yeah, you'll be able to play Sea of Thieves on your own. There won't be any sea. Like, it'll just be a beach and a ship just sliding off into the infinite void.
I'm going to play some of Thieves.
Some Beach of Thieves.
It's the Sea of Thieves trilogy remaster. Oh no, sorry, that was GTA. Sorry,
but like with cloud stuff, I'd love to see, like, it's essentially going to turn into Ready Player One, isn't it? I'm totally okay with that. I love Ready Player One.
Me
but
too.
Like the technology again for that sort of thing, VR with a full bodysuit, because those sort of things do exist.
Mostly in the sex industry, though, to be fair.
I mean, I wasn't going to go there with that, but you, Chief.
But if anything, the porn industry pushes forward.
Right, remove Alan from the room. He's going off on one.
Right. So I don't know what's going on with this dude, but you leave him to it. But there's a video of like people that play VR that have these headsets on with like a set of earbuds or headphones, and then they're strapped into this sort of upright dish, which is either really slippery or is like a multi-directional treadmill. And then you've got
sounds like the porn industry.
Bro! Come on! But then you have like the two-hand
really
things
slippery.
like Oculus. Steady. And then you're running around with a gun, and then you actually have to run your legs left and forward. Alan's been researching.
Little message there from Chris.
But
my sex doll arrives next week.
Sorry, Tom. Go on.
It's
carry
okay.
on.
It's my first time. Badum-tush. But there's a brilliant video of two guys in some gaming cafe somewhere where these big exactly that. For anyone who's listening as opposed to watching, Craig's got those little Oculus Rift hand bits that you get for anything. But it's like these two guys who are clearly playing some sort of alien zombie survival thing. There's one guy who just gets completely freaked out and literally he spins in this little spinny chair, but it's not a chair. It's just like a
a spinny thing from the porn
wok
industry.
full of oil, and he's like, "Screw this!" and he runs off on the spot. And on his camera on the TV, it's just him going, "Ah!" like, with this gun in his hand. He's turning around going, "Oh god, oh god, oh god!" But like, if you could get Cloud to do VR like that, which is essentially what Facebook wants to do with Metaverse, and like whether that works is a different story. But it's a great idea, but it's still just an idea, and until you either technology catches up with us, there we go, or someone gets a whole lot of money and already has the technology and is just like waiting for funding. Because if Xbox, Steam, and PlayStation pooled all their resources to make this one thing, which will never happen,
Never gonna happen. Yeah,
no, exactly. It's a fevered dream. So unless Xbox buys Sony, which no. Or if Google buys.
Well, you say that. I mean, at the beginning of the year, if Xbox are buying Bethesda, oh, don't be silly.
Yeah,
It's like,
Xbox bought
then-
Activision. Yeah,
And then Xbox bought Activision. It was like, hold on, Activision's way too big to do that.
Yeah, no
And
way,
then
that never
Sony
happened.
were like, we need to do something. Let's buy Bungie. Like,
yeah.
and like, it's a great idea in premise, but like, ultimately, one, who's going to be able to afford that? Who isn't like Jeff Bezos or
See, I
anyone?
think, I think
or,
with that kind of thing you're talking about, that kind of Ready Player One scenario, if that's such the kind of the requirement in your living space, if unless you're like a single guy on your own, you can have a room dedicated purely to your VR setup or whatever, it's just not going to happen. And I think fundamentally as a society needs to move on and change, as it will as the generations move, because things become more and more acceptable. Older generations, or a number of older generations, don't understand gaming as a whole. They don't understand why people do it. They just think it's stupid. Online gaming, they just don't understand all this stuff. But the generations that are growing up now, that's all they know, and it will get to the point where all the people who don't understand it, they're all in the ground, they're worm food, and life will evolve and move on. That's the only time that anything's going to come.
That's why we don't have flying cars.
Yes, there you go.
No, it's true. The technology, a lot of the technology for flying cars is already out there. The reason we don't have is because our entire infrastructure is based off road cars. Everywhere you live has a road attached to it. Our entire society is based off of roads. Where we get from A to B, it's what we travel to. Roads.
Where we're going, we don't
need
roads.
But that's the point. That's why some technology is not researched as much as it is, because either the technology is there, or there's no need for it within the infrastructure of what we've already built.
There's no way to make any money out of it.
Exactly. So as you say, as most people will not. I think I've seen some films or read some books where they talk about having this room where you go into it and it's this whole VR experience. Most people don't even can barely afford a house these days. Never mind a house that's got a specific room where you stand on a big roller ball like a giant hamster ball. You know what I mean? With a VR and a big suit on, which it's like you're in some virtual world. That's that. We're talking 100+ years off that, surely, because most people, we don't have the facility for it. But it's nice to dream. I mean, that it's a long way off, and it will happen. But
I think fundamentally what we're going to see from this stuff is it's going to be more of a case of, yes, let's take a GTA 5 for example. So let's imagine a GTA 5 where that city is 10 times the size it is now, with every building is accessible, every building has people in it, they go about their daily lives, they live, the NPCs are, that each NPC is its own AI system that runs it. It has
and 1,000 players occupying that space.
Exactly. But the fact of the matter is that all of that stuff, all of that city, all of that world that you jump into, that is all handled by, that is a cloud game. The only thing that you need to access it is a device of something that is your avatar. You are just inhabiting that world from that point of entry. And that's where we're going to see, I think, it's going to be that increase in AI technology and the scope and scale of things they're going to be able to do. I mean, you see with the new engines like Unreal 5, what it can develop procedurally. Imagine if they could get cloud-powered AI supercomputers more behind this procedural generation, the things that they'll be able to create over the years. And like I say, I think this is a few years off where we're going with it, but it's really quite exciting to see. Like you alluded to, Tom, there's already people have tested the water with it, and these online games we've been dipping our toes in, and it's really going to start pushing forward from here, I think. Exciting stuff.
Anyway, enough of this stupid talk about games and stuff. Let's have a quiz.
Let's do it, shall
Yeah.
Go on.
we? Quiz time. It's been a long time coming. But yeah, like I say, I finally pulled my finger out. I've done a little bit of a quizzy. So I'm going to go. Shall I do a notepad? No, I'm going to type it on my screen. I'm going to go to notepad.
I'm going to let pulled my finger out comment go straight past. Let's move on. Come
Oh,
on.
lovely. That's what she said. Anyway, right. So with this quiz, okay, it's multiple choice. You don't have to buzz in first. I'll let you both answer to what you think the right question is. You can either go off what the other person's answer is, or you can think of your own choice, and it's up to you how much context you put behind it. But I'll tell you at the end of the question who is right, and we'll alternate who goes first. So as you are the long-standing member, Alan, you will be going first for the first question. Okay. So the question is, and there's 3 multiple choices, okay? So what does Nintendo mean? Does it mean A, dealer's choice, B, leave luck to heaven, or C, time to play?
C.
Ooh. So C, you think it means time to play, yeah?
I do. Well,
Okay,
Nintendo
no worries.
once being a card company before they were a computer company, that makes sense to me.
There you go. Tom, so what would you say? Is it dealer's choice, leave luck to heaven, or time to play?
I mean, you said it was like a card company before it did video games, so dealer's choice would make sense. But I'd kind of want to go with C as well.
So you're going to both go with time to play, yeah?
I think dealer's choice is a red herring because they were a card company,
Yeah.
but they weren't they didn't do like poker and like stuff where you'd have a dealer.
They did, like, Top Trumps.
They did, yeah. They did
Also-
stuff like you'd see like Yu-Gi-Oh and
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering, those types of games, but Japanese slated, of course.
Also, people in the chat, feel free if you want to pop answers in, if you want to have a guess as well while we're playing through it, because it is multiple choice. So, are we locking those in? So, we've got C from Alan. We're going to go C from you.
I'm going to lock it in.
Lock it. I need some sound effects.
Yeah, we do. We need some lights. So I'll just got a red filter go. Vroom.
Right, Tom,
Yeah, that's my final answer.
locked in with C. So, the correct answer on that one was B, leave luck to heaven. So yeah, and you're right. Dealer's choice was a red herring I put in there because I knew that you would know it was a card company, and I thought dealer's choice will really get you going with that one. So no points to anyone on that one. Right. Question number 2. What was the name of the character that would later be known as Mario in the original arcade version of Donkey Kong? Was it A, Jumpman, B, Player 1, or C, the Plumber? And that's over to you first, Tom.
Well, Mario's always been the plumber, but Player 1 just seems a bit too on the nose. I'm going to go with the plumber. I'll take C again.
C with the Plumber. Okay, Alan, over to you.
Well, I'm going to go with the Jumpman.
With the Jumpman. Okay, locking that one in.
I'm locking that baby right
Locked
in, my friend.
in. So the answer on that one is A, the Jumpman.
Bastards.
Yes, it is correct. So that is 1 point to Alan. Well done,
Sorry,
mate.
Phil.
I knew that. I knew that one. I didn't guess that. I knew that.
Oh, did you know that one? Did you? Oh, nice. Nice.
Yes.
Great. Right. Next one. Okay. So, what role did the creator of the Game Boy originally hold at Nintendo? Was it A, mailroom attendant, B, janitor, or C, receptionist? And that's to you first, Alan. Good question.
What was the answer? Mailroom attendant, janitor,
Mailroom attendant,
or receptionist?
Janitor or receptionist? That's correct. Yeah.
Mailroom guy.
It's a mailroom attendant from Alan.
Yeah.
That's A, locked in. And Tom, what do you think? Mailroom attendant, janitor, or receptionist?
I think it's going to be receptionist for me.
Receptionist, locked in. There we go. The answer was, in fact, janitor. So you both missed on that one. So, next one. How long did it take Marcus Pearson to make the first version of Minecraft? Was it A, 1 month, B, 3 months, or C, 1 week? And that is Alan first, I think.
No, it's
Tom first. What? Huh?
Oh,
Tom. Sorry,
Tom first.
I'm going to go with a week.
So 1 week from Tom. Okay, locked in. Locked in. Alan, what's it? So 1 month, 3 months, or 1 week?
What was the question wording again, Craig?
How long did it take Marcus Pearson to make the first version of Minecraft?
A week.
A week. You're saying a week as well?
Yeah.
You're both happy with that? And you are both correct.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a week. So that's 1 point to Tom and 2 points to Alan. Good stuff. Right, next question. Which game was published by GT... Oh, this is going to be hard for you, Tom, I'm sorry. Which game was published by GT Interactive in 1996? Was it A, Quake, B, Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, or C, Duke Nukem 3? And that's over to you, Alan.
I am going. I know. I can't even see the thing come up on the screen. GT Interactive, which is really sad. I'm going to go with Duke Nukem 3.
Duke Nukem 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Locked in.
Locking it in, baby.
Locking it in. Lovely, Tom. So I don't know if you're old enough to know.
I was born in '93.
Okay. So yeah.
Probably not. So it was Duke Nukem, Abe's Odyssey, and what?
And Quake.
Oh. I've played all 3 of them, to be fair.
Okay, good stuff. Good. It's good to hear.
He's allowed back on again after saying that.
So you could either play tactically here, and you could go the same as Alan, because if he gets it, you get a point as well, so you're not going to fall behind. But if he doesn't get it, you're still in the same place. Or you can bash somewhere else, and maybe you'll catch up.
I think I will take Abe's Odyssey.
Abe's Odyssey. Okay, so that game published by GT Interactive in 1996 was in fact Duke Nukem 3. Well done, Alan. 3 points.
Love that game.
Well done. Great game.
I come here, chew gum,
Kick ass and chew bubble gum.
and I'm all out of gum.
Yeah. Come here, baby. Hail to the king. Right.
Yeah.
Right, what is the name of the final course of all Mario Kart video games? Is it A, Bowser's Castle, B, Rainbow Road, or C, Yoshi's Valley? Tom, you first.
I thought it was Alan first.
Hold on.
I've already lost track.
So have I.
This is a bit.
No, it is Tom. It is you,
It
Tom.
is Tom, because I did Duke Nukem last time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. Rainbow Road. Final answer.
Oh, so he's confident. So you're going to follow him with that one, Alan, or do you think?
But what do you think? I mean, the minute you asked the question, Tom went. So I'm thinking probably Tom knows.
Right, okay.
Or maybe it's all a con.
Maybe. Yes, you have the face of a con man. I'm going to go with Rainbow Road.
Cool. So, well, I can say with the answer to that one is first off is Tom, don't ever play poker for money, and yes, it was in fact Rainbow Road.
I love the way you went. Yeah, and then you went. I thought it was Alan first. Oh crap! Oh damn it!
Right. Next up, yeah. So Chris has just put on there as well. Yeah, Tom needs to work on his poker face.
Whoa, 3 aces!
All right. I mean,
Right, and now for the final question. So really, let's be honest, we're all playing for pride here now because you can't catch him up. But let's see if you can get this one. So, what was Sonic the Hedgehog's original name? Was it A, Mr. Needlemouse, B, Fast Blue Hedgehog, or C, Jimmy the Hedgehog? Alan. Mr. Needlemouse, Fast Blue Hedgehog, or Jimmy the Hedgehog?
I mean, I haven't got a freaking clue. I mean, I've watched, like, there's a documentary on Netflix about Sega and all of those games and stuff, which is actually why I knew, and Nintendo, and that's why I knew the answer about, Mario and stuff. And they did talk about this, but I don't remember. I'm going to go with the first one, Mr. Needlemouse.
Mr. Needlemouse. So, Tom, where are we going to go? Mr. Needlemouse, Fast Blue Hedgehog, or Jimmy the Hedgehog?
oh man, I really hope it's Mr. Needlemouse. That's so good.
I'm changing my gamer tag, actually. I think I should change it to
Mr.
Needlemouse.
I'll take Mr. Needlemouse. Screw it.
Mr. Needlemouse as well. Well, I can tell you, boys, that you were both correct. It was Mr. Needlemouse.
Because he wasn't actually a hedgehog in the beginning, which is what made me think. The other two are hedgehogs. Yeah.
So, that is the quiz. It was a short, sweet one, but I think it was quite fun. And the scores on the board are 3 to Tom and 5 to Alan. So, well done, Alan. Great stuff. Did you enjoy that, boys? Was it fun?
That was fun.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
Does this mean I have to start doing quizzes again now?
Well, I mean,
Only if I'm nearby.
I'm always up for a quiz, but I don't want to, put too much pressure on you, Craig. What was the favourite one we did? What was the one that was it film movie lines or something? Or I can't remember. We've had some really good ones, haven't we? That was a classic. That was.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to go back and dig out some of the old classics and see if we can add some more in. Tom's looking a bit concerned because there's a bunch of music playing, and I didn't tell him that at the end there is music to run the outro. So he's going, is that my phone?
Am I being walked off the stage?
I can hear voices in my head. They're saying kill, kill, kill.
That's not what they really said.
Now the music's come in, it is time for me to say goodbye. It's a goodbye from Alan.
It's a goodbye from Alan.
And a goodbye from Mr. Tom.
Goodbye from me as well.
And thank you ever so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
No worries,
All right,
dude.
take care, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.